Muy buenas chavales, estamos con Andreas,
Hello.
Senior Gameplay Designer de Wolfenstein The New Order, que lo acabamos de probar ahora mismo y la verdad es que es una pasada el juego, muy sangriento, eso sí.
I'd like to say that it's a reboot in the sense that it's Machine Games' vision of where we want to take Wolfenstein into the future, and it's not just a first-person shooter anymore, it's a first-person action-adventure, but at the same time it's a continuation of the universe and the alternate timeline idea, the alternate history idea, and you'll also recognize some characters and some plot threads in the game, but saying that, it's also very much its own standalone story. So this is a story-driven first-person action-adventure. So, you know, we see the game as resting on two pillars. You have the intense, crazy, old-school action, very important part of what a Wolfenstein game is. And we've tried to bring a lot of what was really great about old-school games, and we've taken what we think is the best of modern-day games and kind of brought those together into a cohesive whole. But the other pillar, and what we find is a revolution to the series, is the adventure aspect. And the adventure is about exploring what it would have meant if the world had been lost to the Nazis, if they had won World War II. You know, what kind of world would we be left with? What would it mean for the people living in that world, both for those who were oppressed by the regime, but also those who are kind of thriving in that situation. So that idea of exploring that and exploring the characters and the story is very important, but also something as fundamental as exploring the environments and the levels you're in, because this is Wolfenstein, so we have a lot of secrets and a lot of cool stuff you can find. But it's also about adventure as gameplay. We have borrowed a few elements from point-and-click adventure, so you get to find items and combine items and use them in the levels to solve puzzles and to solve problems to be able to continue and reach your objectives. The adventure part is also about, you know, having a very varied gameplay experience, like driving underwater vehicles, exploring underwater areas. It's about you know, controlling mech-like war machines on the battlefield. It's about all those things to create a very varied adventure action experience. Okay, so for us it was a decision we took very early on when we started thinking about making a Wolfenstein game, because we as a studio are very passionate about creating that special blend of action-adventure, story-driven action-adventure. So that's what we are passionate about, that's what we're really good at. So we decided very quickly to focus all the energy of our studio on just creating a kick-ass single-player campaign, because diverting the resources to multiplayer would have either meant that it would be less of a good game, or it would have been a case where we would have to expand the studio a lot. So we have just had a very tight focus on creating the best single-player campaign we can make, and make it into the best Wolfenstein game ever. So the great thing about id Tech 5 is that it allows us to comparatively easily create versions for different platforms. What we could do even on the previous platforms was to create, you know, a game where each pixel in the game is unique. So we could create really diverse and really detailed environments, right? So what it means to get the next-gen horsepower, that gives us the possibility to just increase the fidelity and just have basically more of everything. But that said, that's like the visual and audio side, and the gameplay will remain what it is on both kind of generations of hardware.
Bueno, pues esto ha sido todo. La verdad es que hemos estado un buen rato probando Wolfenstein The New Order y la verdad es que es todo un juegazo. Bueno, pues thank you so much for your time y bueno, nos vemos en el siguiente vídeo.